Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. If you probably can guess, we are now concluding with the winner of the B block in the Best of the Super Juniors by New Japan Pro Wrestling. The question many people would ask, who would join Kosie Fujita in the finals on June 1st? That's a very good question. Now keep in mind, boys and girls, the point system is a bit tricky right here, but I'll give you a bit of a clarity exactly how it works, because once they crown who is the winner, that's where you get the idea. And of course, we move on with TNA. As you probably know, TNA are still dealing with the effects of the loss of one of their titles in the hands from someone from another company, which of course puts them in a desperation mode. Who will be the one to challenge them? Well, we all know who did, but the obvious question is, where do they go from here? But also, we have battle lines being drawn for the upcoming, of course, Against All Odds pay-per-view. A lot of things are going to take place regarding that. And then, of course, we have of Mr. Stone causing more problems again with his feud towards Santino Marella. And then as finally, we have, of course, Ring of Honor, featuring many matches, plus matches that they in fact decided to put in involving from a promotion based out of Arizona called Action Wrestling, featuring talent that were there prior before Double or Nothing. So that's going to be interesting to enjoy the watch, but also features, of course, the Ring of Honor Pure Wrestling Championship on the line. Lee Moriarty defends it against Matt Mako, who made his appearance one time, and of course they're paying tribute to someone who has been in the game before. And then, as always, we cap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events and promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or nice comments in the description down below. Now, enough with the yapping. It's time to rock. So, let's begin with our first review, and of course, it's New Japan Pro Wrestling's Best of the Super Juniors. New Japan Pro Wrestling Best of the Super Juniors. This is day 12. Now keep in mind, this is, of course, the conclusion who will be joining Kosie Fujita in the finals on June 1st for the Best of the Super Juniors. Now, keep in mind, certain parts of this tournament is a bit tricky when it comes to adding points or the stipulations how the point system works. So don't get confused. I'll try to explain much of it little by little. Now, our first match involving the B block, we have Kevin Knight versus Ryusuke Taguchi. Now, keep in mind, these two men did not have the necessary points to proceed. But however, the name of the game for this match is about who's not going to walk away empty-handed. We're not talking about championships, about who will get the last win in this tournament for themselves. So that's always been the case. However, when Kevin Knight has to deal with Taguchi, as you all know, Taguchi is the kind of wrestler who likes to have a bit of fun, even though people think he should be just focusing on wrestling. Well, sometimes his shenanigans about having fun always work, but sometimes it backfires. However, Kevin Knight, I have to say there was no worry about him because the guy, he is athletically built. I mean, he can run fast, he doesn't get tired. Not to mention there was a moment where, of course, Taguchi showed his buns of steels. I'm not talking about, guns of steels or whatever. He talks about his behind. So, of course, Knight punches him. He's like, damn it. And then, of course, Taguchi likes to make sure that his components are running back and forth, but nope, it backfired too because Kevin Knight actually went run rope and then he worked to the other corner, then the other, back and forth, dizzying Taguchi and all that. But this led, of course, to Kevin Knight winning the match when he applied, of course, the UFO splash, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he walks away with the win with a total of 8 points, ending the best of the Super Juniors for him. Now, our next match, also in the same predicament as the first one, Titan versus Nick Wayne. As always, name of the game, who's going to get the last win for this one. Now, Nick Wayne, we all see he was undefeated from the very beginning, but since then, he possibly, according to what Ninja Mac wants to believe, possibly that he might have lost focus and that first loss was in his head. Maybe that's a possibility, but Titan, well, we know he is talented, we know what he's capable of. He was able to pick up the victory by applying the Llave Inmortal, and just like that, Nick Wayne had no choice but to give up. And of course, Titan walked away with the total points of 8, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match is the very first interesting one, and this is the first time these two met. Sho versus Mao. They never had a singles match before. Now, of course, I did not see the preview match. Something very interesting happened. Mao was trying to play a game of chicken with Sho, but however, let's just say Mao decided to bring his little DDT shenanigans with him. Apparently, he ran over Sho with the DDT mobile, which of course is the bicycle that Shinjiro Takagi likes to use on his various matches. Now, when it comes to, of course, Sho, we all know he's never alone. He has his scumbag buddies, the House of Losers, more specifically Ren Narita and Yujiro Takahashi, to help him out. But, of course, luckily Mao has his own pals to help him out. Strange Love Connection. And, of course, things got a little out of hand because here's what happened. The match did not start in the ring. It never did. The bell never rung. However, Mao took all 3 of these jerk monkeys outside the ring. Outside the building, to my add. And, of course, apparently he borrowed the van that, of course, DDT has used countless times in their history, and he run over Sho, like a deer with headlights, and I thought it was awesome. However, what's interesting, Walker Stewart said something that kind of is true because for too long the House of Losers have been causing nothing but problems for New Japan, and Stuart Walker feels like, hey, DDT did us a favor, so, what's wrong with that? So that's how it is. And of course, Sho was worn out. This match could have won easily, but however, of course, the House of Torture once again gets involved in the business. They even destroyed the DDT mobile, which was messed up. And then, of course, there was a misdirection by Mao. He tried to play out a certain game. But, however, once again, the House of Torture gets involved. Mao had this match won, but they pulled the ref. Then Strange Love Connection showed up. And then out of nowhere, one of them got whiskey missed by Kanemaru. But something happened, of course. As you all know, Sho decides to use the wrench as a final resort to ensure he wins. It backfired on him because apparently the Iron Fist showed up again. The one they used the rocket punch. And then, of course, Mao ducked when he saw Kanemaru about to spit whiskey mist onto him, but Sho got a little whiff of it, and then the rocket punch took out Sho, and then of course the Cannonball 450 played out, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Mao picked up the win. Well, Sho, welcome DDT, bitch. But however, this is where things got interesting. According to the point system, Mao was the top of the mountain, meaning that if neither Despy or Yo do not pick up their wins, Mao will go to the finals. So he has to pray for the fact that not that the other guys win. So that's sort of, it tells it out right there. But however, that next match is the most critical one. We have, of course, Robbie Eagles versus El Desperado. So I have to say this match had some bit of the technical aspects on this one. I mean, we did see, of course, a bit of submission and all this, but in the end, it was, of course, El Desperado that picked up the win by applying the dose on Robbie Eagles. And of course, Robbie Eagles was frustrated. He couldn't believe that he lost in this fashion. But, however, because of his win, this means that Mao was bumped off as the top, putting Desperado at the top of the mountain. So that pretty much it. But the last match, that's the crucial part. Either Despy remain at the top or he'll be bumped off. So we have, of course, Taiji Shimori and Yo, who are in fact total points of 10. So this match will determine that, you know. So we have, of course, this, of course, it's no secret that these two guys have met before. But Yo was able to walk away with the win when he applied the direct drop. I mean, it was a brutal match for him. But luckily, he was able to pick up the win when he applied the direct drive onto Taiji Shimori. And just like that, 1, 2, 3 is over. However, as soon as the match was over, it was later announced that Yo has bumped off Desperado at the top. And he is at the top. And he will be the one to meet Kosie Fujita at the June 1st at the finals. But of course, we did see Kosie Fujita make his presence known to look him dead in the eye on his opponent that he will face. So we'll see how things will go. And of course, Yo did his usual promo. Can't wait to see what's going to happen. And I think this is one of those moments where Yo has never won this title. This championship had eluded him for years. So I can't wait to see how things will go from there. But as of right now, we'll end things with New Japan and move on with TNA. Okay, TNA. As I mentioned before, the entire TNA roster are now currently in deep shock that one of their championships is no longer in the possession of one of their own, is in the possession of a talent from another company, more specifically NXT. So we'll see how things will roll up from there. Now, we were expecting Trick Williams to be there, but he didn't bother showing up. So he just left the entire TNA fan base and everybody hanging right there. But of course, we do know that Mike Santana will get an opportunity against him later on, at of course this coming week on Tuesday. But later it was revealed that Mike Santana will be facing Trick Williams and Elijah for that same championship at Against All Odds. So battle lines are now being drawn for that. Now, our first match is for the #1 contendership to face the Meneth brothers at Against All Odds for the TNA World Tag Team belts. However, before the start of the show, event, there was an exclusive video where the effing system, more specifically Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, attacked Octagon Jr., leaving, of course, Laredo Kid by himself as the only member of the Azteca Warriors. So he went on alone, facing, of course, in a match against the Rascals, First Class, and of course the System. Now, of course, the obvious thing is this: can he pull it off? Well, a lot of things go on crazy, but however, it was Trey Miguel who picked up the win when he applied a Meteora on AJ Francis, and just like that, he pinned Laredo Kid, becoming our brand new the Rascals becoming our #1 contenders to take on the Meneth brothers. However, of course, the Meneth brothers were watching this and they were sticking close to it. However, Ryan Meneth said that, of course, that they are talented, but they are not the Meneth brothers. So we'll see what happens in Against All Odds. Now, as soon as the entire match was over, we First Class were kind of arguing a little bit about what happened, how they lost this opportunity, until Mike Santana, as you know, hasn't forgotten what AJ Francis did to him at, of course, what was it? It was not under, was it Under Siege? On the last pay-per-view, of course, just attacked them out of nowhere. So, just like that. Now, many of you may have already heard that TNA has signed 2 new wrestlers. Molly Grace, many of you know, I reviewed her when she was in fact wrestling for almost half a year with Mighty Gold, which is the promotion that Rossy Ogawa started last year. And then of course Harley, what's her name again? Harley Hudson. Many of you may have seen her in the UK. So they were doing interviews, and of course they had a dark match, a pre-show match in the last pay-per-view, and just like that, of course, they won their opportunity. Now, they were giving a bit of their background, what their plans are, until they were interrupted by that Chihuahua, Ash by Elegance's personal grease monkey, looking for Santino. Had no respect because he was more concerned about Ash. And of course, Zaya Brookside would tell us, he's not here, can't you see? You know, he's a moron, you can tell that. Now, our next match, we have Raj Singh taking on Mustafa Ali. Those who don't know, Raj Singh made his presence known of course, in the last pay-per-view. As you may not remember, when Mustafa Ali first joined TNA, Raj Singh was part of his campaign. But ever since then, he ghosted, of course, Mustafa Ali ghosted him. He called him several times, but he never actually called up with him. So basically, you can think of it as payback. But of course, Efren, the Order 4, decides to get involved and try to deal with it. But Mustafa Ali was able to defeat him by applying the 450 splash. And then, of course, there was the beatdown that those idiots, the dumb hands, decided to deal with. Tasha tried to tell him that it was over. They didn't need to do this. But, of course, Mustafa Ali, as you know, has not been himself since losing to Mike Santana. It says it all right there. Now, for their upcoming match, Santino Marella was talking to his daughter, Ariana Grace, about how saddened that he wasn't there to be by her side. But of course, Ariana felt disappointed that she lost. But, Santino said, "I've always will be proud of you no matter what. You're my daughter. But sucks that I can't even that I wasn't there to give you the support you need." But, however, Ariana did say that to the board, that she talked to the board about having a signed ref to keep it down the middle. Someone who's been known in TNA, who's also a fellow Canadian, named Jimmy, whatever his name is. So basically, that sets it up right there. Now, our next match is a #1 contendership for the TNA Knockouts World Title. We have Ash by Elegance versus Li Ying Li. Now, this match was signed thanks to that dirtbag, Mr. Stone, who in fact tries to act like you gotta earn it. Hell no, bitch. You gave Victoria Crawford the shot without actually earning it. So he's decided to do that. But Masha was the one, I want Li Ying Li. Because, of course, Masha is not an idiot. She knows there are potential threats to her reign. And Li Ying Li is one of them. Which, obviously, that's what happened. But, however, of course, Li Ying Li took care of business, took out Ash by Elegance, and just like that, she becomes our #1 contender, the face, Masha Savage, against all odds. Now, we had Mance Warner versus Bryce Henson. Well, you probably guessed this match was going to end with Mance Warner winning. Of course it did, and it's just over. But however, during the post-match promo, Steph DeLanders made it clear that they will be keeping an eye on the match between the TNA International Championship between Steve Macklin and Matt Cardona, because of course now Mance Warner has a sight set on the TNA International Championship. Now, as you all saw what happened with Zaya Brookside, well, she completely lost it when she decided to whoop Rosemary with the belt, and of course letting the frustrations out. Well, it did. So Rosemary is happy that it happened. So we don't know what's going to happen from here on out with Zaya Brookside. I mean, would she embrace it? But we know she has snapped thanks to Rosemary. Now we jump into the match between Ariana Grace and Santino taking on Mr. Stone and Tessa Blanchard. However, Mr. Stone showed up saying that Tessa Blanchard cannot compete due to what happened in the last pay-per-view. But he decided to have Victoria Crawford to step up. But once again, this dirtbag tries to change things up, saying the match has to be 10 minutes and the Cobra was banned. And in case of anything happens to the ref, well, Alicia Edwards step up as the special ref enforcer just in case. Well, we know Mr. Stone, he's a scumbag. You know, the problem is this, Stone, he's not getting enough respect with Ava for what's going on, so he's trying to take someone else's credit. But of course, we would have assumed this match would have gone in favor with Ariana and Santino, but if it wasn't for, of course, interference coming from the outside, and then, of course, Mr. Stone being a dirtbag that he is, he had Victoria Crawford give the axe kick to Ariana, then pin her, making things worse. I'm sure Santino is going to find a way to go over his head some ways to not interfere in people's business and reclaim what is rightfully his, you know, as the actual director of authority. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, the Northern Armory decided to throw in a photo, a video promo. Well, as you know, Eric Young pinned Moose. Well, it seems now that Eric Young has his sights set now on the TNA X Division Championship. But Moose got in the face, and of course, JDC. Now this became like a battle between Canada versus, of course, the US and all that. Well, we'll see how things will go from there. Now, we did have the special Elegance brand when they introduced Maggie Lee now as, of course, M by Elegance, thanks to the makeover by that Chihuahua, Ash and Heather. But however, of course, that Chihuahua, if I were him, stop getting involved in people's business and crying like a little bitch. Because, of course, that's what he was doing. Harley Hudson and Myla Grace decided to show up and ruin the parade. Well, let's see how things roll up. I mean, Chihuahua should have just minded his own business and stopped getting involved in people's business that doesn't concern them. But we're not done yet. We have the TNA International Championship. Matt Cardona versus Steve Maclin. Of course, we were supposed to have this match at the last pay-per-view, but unfortunately, it didn't go accordingly due to Maclin's injury. But luckily, he was back. But of course, Matt Cardona was going to find ways to cheat his way through. He even tried to bring in the belt. Then he did the radio silence. Did not work. But Steve Maclin was able to pick up the win when he applied, of course, the KIA. And just like that, he retained the belt. However, we know Maclin will probably be waiting for Mance Warner making his move. So we'll see what happens from there. So as of right now, we are done with TNA. Let's move on with Ring of Honor. Okay, Ring of Honor. Well, this is a very interesting one. For those who do know, Ring of Honor is normally pre-taped on certain days, you know, like a week before it's actually broadcast. Myself has firsthand actually witnessed it when they were here for Dynamite, and of course, they didn't release certain the actual day until the week later. But there were some additional matches that were not even featured on the day of the schedule, but it kind of filled the void. That's the same thing with this one. I'll explain. Let's start from this first match. Our first match, we have Trish Adora versus La Catalina from CMLL. Of course, this was going to be a very tough match because, of course, Trish has been showing what she can do and what the Shane Taylor Promotions are all about, trying to show that they're in control, that they're the ones running the joint in Ring of Honor. However, Catalina has been one of those wrestlers that people can get behind, and not to mention making her presence in Ring of Honor on countless occasions. But Catalina was able to pick up the win with the big splash, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, as you all know, Ring of Honor has unveiled a brand new championship, the Ring of Honor Women's Pure Wrestling Championship, and there's going to be a tournament involving who will be the first. And the person who spoke out more about this is Taya Valkyrie. As you know, she's all about championships, so she's making her declarations on what she's planning to do. So we'll see what's going to happen from there. Our next match, we have Lance Archer versus Diego Hill. I have seen him a few times in Deadlock Pro Wrestling, but you can guess that this match ended with Lance Archer. He applied something new. Instead of his usual way where he picks up the win with the blackout, he uses submission. This is something that was unprecedented from his nature. We never seen him do a submission. It's either a choke slam or the black hole, the blackout. And just like that, he just picked a submission. But however, during his post-match, well, he wasn't going to leave it without somebody dying. And that is, of course, Diego Hill ended up being part of the blackout. And just like that, it was over. Now, these next two matches are part of the promotion called Action Wrestling that they did in, of course, before Double or Nothing. We have the ROH Pure Wrestling Championship, Matt Mako taking on Lee Moriarty. Now, I have seen Matt Mako. He made his appearance in Ring of Honor before, but he has some interesting technical wrestling capabilities, which I was like, whoa, very impressive in every way. And I thought he stepped up the game. I mean, there were moments we see the rope breaks happen. Either Matt was the one who had to lose one, then Lee, that back and forth. But however, it was, of course, Lee Moriarty with the Border Series stretch, and it just ended right there for him, retaining the championship. Now, our next match is part of a 5-on-5 tag team tournament. No, not tournament, elimination. Here's who we have. Team number 1, we have Dr. Cerebro, Zulshwa, Averno, Euphoria, and Volador Jr. They take on Hologram, Neon, Valiente Virus, and of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Blue Panther. Now, this is an elimination match, not, of course, either you win by a submission, pinfall, or stuff like that. But let me pull out exactly how the order is with this match, because it gets a little bit confusing for many people. Alright, so first to eliminate it was Seljua. He actually he got eliminated by Virus, but Virus got eliminated by Euphoria. Then Volador Jr. eliminates Valiente. Then Hologram and Neon eliminates Euphoria. Blue Panther eliminates Dr. Cerebro. Then Averno eliminates Neon. But it was Blue Panther and Hologram to eliminate Averno and Volador Jr. And just like that, it was Blue Panther and Hologram that picked up the win for their team. So it was a pretty good one, not gonna lie. Now, our next match, we have Satnam Singh versus Facade. I have seen Facade before. Many of you may have seen him. He actually, I seen him when he was doing a tour with Sammy in Japan for DDT long before he signed with AEW. Well, you can guess this match ended with Satnam Singh applying a chokeslam, and just like that, it was over. In our main event, we have the Frat House, consisting of Griff Garrison and Cole Carter. They take on Hologram and Gore, Rhino. Just like that, it was over. Now, of course, when it comes to the Frat House, we know that Preston Vance and Jack Jameson and the Pledges were going to get involved. That backfired until, of course, Rhino gored Griff Garrison, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. So that's pretty much it, what happened on Ring of Honor. And of course, we are now officially done with every review. So let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin, of course, with upcoming events. We have, of course, the GCW stuff all piled up, so let's start with those. On the 20th of June, we have the Banging in Little Rock, Arkansas. Billy Starks versus Adam Priest. That's the match that's been announced for that. And then, of course, we have the 2 days later in Kansas City, Missouri, take a picture. The JCW World Championship will be on the line. Masha will defend the belt against Mickey Knuckles, I believe. Yeah, Mickey Knuckles, and that's pretty much for that. And then, of course, the final one, we have Boss of all bosses on July 11th in Dallas. They announced Mance Warner versus, of course, Rock and Roll Ricky Morton. Now, House of Glory has announced for the Puerto Rican weekend on the 7th of June, Diana Purrazzo will be in action to take on Karissa Rivera, formerly known as Elektra Lopez. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Now, Jersey Championship Wrestling with the Rex Sports Pro Wrestling on the 12th of June. The GCW Tag Team belts will be on the line. Alec Price and Jordan Oliver defending against Isaiah Broner and a guy, Edwards. I don't know what's his actual full name. A Japanese promotion called Matchmaker and Agency Pro Wrestling has announced for an event on the 25th of June in Shinjuku. Well, this one has a special match that was announced. Momo Kogo versus Yoshiko Hasegawa. Now, some of you saying, why is it special? Simple. These two ladies actually know each other. Want to know where they know each other? At-Risk Girls. As we probably can guess, these two actually are from that promotion from a long time ago. So you probably can guess it. So it's a great moment. They actually debuted around the same time, in case anybody asks. But it's going to be the first time for who knows how long they see each other, but now facing off each other again. MLW, for their upcoming New York City event on the 26th of June, announced a lightning match that has a time limit of 10 minutes. Paul London, many of you remember him from back in the day in WWE. He'll face off against CML's very own Neon, so that's going to be good. Spark Joshi Puroesu of America, as you know, they will have their upcoming event on June 29th in Texas, called Ignite Texas. They just announced the Pink Striker, Miyu Yamashita, will be involved, so that's going to be good. And then finally, as you know, we have the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling with their upcoming event in Montreal on the 5th of July called Resurrection. Once again, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship will be on the line. Tom Ladder defends the belt against a former champion, and that is, of course, Matt Cardona. So that's going to be good to hear. Now, first things first, I want to in our developments, we want to give congratulations to, of course, Charlie Haas and Jackie Gaeta's eldest daughter, Kayla, who's also, of course, don't know, Shelton Benjamin is her godfather. Apparently, she just graduated from high school, so good job, kiddo. Next up, LuchaBlog has showed that Alberto Del Rio viciously attacked King Vikingo, Hijo de Vikingo's father, in a morning television show to send a direct message to Vikingo. As you know, Alberto will be defending the AAA Mega Championship against him, so you probably can guess the moment of that. Fightful Selects reports that Juice Robinson was at the backstage in AEW Double or Nothing, but however, his return to AEW has now been extended longer than they realized, so it's going to be a little longer to happen. PW Insider reports that Kevin Knight is expected to return to AEW intimately, so it's still unclear what's the purpose now, where they're going to go with him from there, so we'll see. Now, recently, Omos, many of you know, he was recently been wrestling in Japan, for more specifically Pro Wrestling Noah. So that kind of sets it up. But however, he explains his reason why he went to Japan, and he kind of pointed out two people, Shelton Benjamin and MVP. And this is what he said. And this was when he was interviewing with Chris Van Vliet. I took a lot of things that I learned while I was working with MVP. A lot of things that we talked about when we were on the road together, because he taught me a lot and just took out that style. And when I was going out there, I called him because he was in Japan. I called him because I called him. I called Shelton Benjamin, and he just goes, "Hey, in Japan, man, you're a heel. Be a heel. They love it. Like, they be the nastiest heel. Like, I'm like, oh really?" So really, I got to embrace that, and they loved it. So basically, he got the advice from MVP and Shelton Benjamin. It's no secret that these two guys have been, of course, in Japan before. So for those who don't know, in Japan, when they see a foreigner, they are sometimes the heels, and that's something we have seen. It's been like that before with Tiger Mask. For those who don't know, Tiger Mask had a rival named Black Tiger, I believe, or no, Black Mask. He has mostly been portrayed by foreign wrestlers. So that's it up. And amongst them is Eddie Guerrero, in case anybody asks, and Rocky Romero. So yeah, so that sets it up. Now, many of you know now that Elektra Lopez now goes by her name Karissa Rivera. Well, she went on the Fans View podcast, talked about, of course, how she wasn't given a fair opportunity by WWE. Now, I know some people in WWE, especially the fan base, would say, that's a load of horse crap, J-Rod. Well, this is not coming from me. This is coming from her. Because this is something we often talk about, how WWE doesn't give opportunities that much to wrestlers who either they don't see they are worth it or anything. And this is what she said. If I were given an opportunity and I failed, I can understand. But you didn't really give me an opportunity to show what I can do when I'm more than I'm just a manager. So basically, they never viewed her as a wrestler. They just thought, you're just going to be a manager permanently. This is something we've seen before. Many of you don't know this. Before Adam Cole was going to made his debut in AEW, WWE were intending to make Adam Cole as a manager because the obvious excuse, and it's the same excuse that happened with Jericho, he's too short. Now, for all you WWE fan base out there who watch this channel, it's not a joke, guys. It's exactly what happened. You don't have to take my word for it. That's what I've been hearing from various news outlets, either Fightful or Wrestling Observer or wherever. But yeah, so if they never viewed her as a wrestler, I feel bad for her because she seems like she was capable of everything. But I'm sure she'll get the definite skills now to prove what she was worth that she should have been given in WWE. But it's still unclear whether she'll sign with TNA or AEW. We know she has been in both backstages on certain events. But if there's any changes about that with her, I'll let you guys know. But as of right now, we are officially done with everything. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, well, for the next episode, I'm not 100% sure because I'm rather debating. The reason is this. Friday, basically, I have something to do. I have an errand to do. Well, not exactly a big thing that I have in my church. For those who don't know me, I play drums, and there's an important thing going on at another church I have to be in. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do a review for all of you, an episode. But if not, then I'll let you guys know. But if I do, I'll probably release it maybe later on in the evening or early in the morning, depending on how things will roll up. But at this point forward, I haven't decided yet. So just stay tuned for that, and we'll go from there. So as of right now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.